Monday morning, and I'm getting a little bit of a later start because my son unfortunately threw up yesterday. So we've tried to avoid it. My sister-in-law and her kids have been just like absolutely destroyed for the last week and a half. And we really haven't had hardly any contact with them at all. So we thought we were in the clear, but yesterday my son started acting a little bit off, like a little bit grumpy, a little bit tired, more than he should have. And then sure enough, got a fever and then threw up. So he's not going to school today. We want him to be fever free, obviously, for over 24 hours before we do that. But what that meant was I didn't have to wake up super early this morning, which was good because last night was a little bit rough with the kids because they just, with my son being sick, the other ones and everyone didn't really sleep well. So I got good sleep, which is nice. I wasn't sure if I was going to get that and get to have a little bit later start to my run today. So we were originally going to go hit the trail. I got the trail bug after Saturday, but decided to just stay close to home because I didn't want to wake up extra early because, again, I was up extra late. So, but I'm thinking, 8 to 9 easy and should be good there. And yeah. All right, we're about 6 miles into my run and I feel fine. Like the body feels really good, but somewhat concerning is that my heart rate is pretty high. But you can hear I'm talking fine. You can hear like my breathing is fine. And why that worries me is because my son threw up last night. And so I'm worried that there is something waiting, that something's gonna come up on my end and that would suck. So fingers crossed. It's a little bit before 7. We're about to get out there and do a threshold workout. Today we're going to be doing our 10 by 1000s. My son still had a fever last night, so obviously we're not taking him to school today. So I'm just taking advantage of the fact that I don't need to be done with my workout by 7, right? And getting a little bit extra sleep, a little bit of extra rest. So today we're breaking out the Vaporfly 4. So I really liked the 2, really liked the 3. I didn't run in the 1. But I like the 2 and 3 for different reasons. The 2 is a little bit maybe snappier, or it's at least a little firmer, and then the 3 felt like very, very nimble, but pretty soft. So they actually, if I'm remembering correctly from the press release, they actually reduced the weight of the 4, and it's now supposed to be a little bit more of almost like a half marathon racing shoe, and then the alphafly is more of the marathon racing shoe. I think it's going to come down to preference though, and I have been hearing that people who like a little bit lighter feel underfoot, like something a little bit more lightweight and less bulky, are going to really like the Vaporfly. So for me, I prefer lightweight trainers over other trainers, right? I like a light shoe versus a super cushion shoe, and I do like the combination. Like if it's super cushion but it's super responsive, I like that too. But I tend to gravitate towards shoes that are lightweight for their categories. So I'm pretty excited to get these out there today. Excited to see how they feel. And yeah, we'll report back with some first thoughts after. All right. 10 by 1K, 1 minute rest in between, around threshold effort. Heart rate was a little high today again. Again, hopefully not getting sick. There's a train. But heart rate recovered really well in between the reps. So that was a good sign still, despite the heart rate climbing a little bit. I really need to go do some metabolic testing. Not that it's necessary for training, but like if I have the resources to be able to do so, there's like the Olympic training centers and whatnot here that have like professional level, like VO2 max and lactate threshold testing. So it's like, I might as well, because I'm kind of going off of feel and guesstimates.
Now, that's fine. I mean, I'm improving, but just something to consider, right, for more accuracy. But anyway, feeling pretty good. Vaporfly 3, or Vaporfly 4, I should say. Vaporfly 4. We'll do deeper first thoughts later today. I'll record, but I don't know if I like them more than the 3. I'm not sure. They are, I feel like they're not quite as bouncy. The foam, just like, again, I have to wear them side by side to check. Made this mistake before of making a statement and people getting really mad. I don't think they're as bouncy. They're definitely not as squishy as the 3. The responsiveness is like, so they're light, they're nimble, and paces did feel effortless in them, right? Like I was running, I would look at my watch and realize I was running faster than I wanted to be, right? But I don't know, something about them just didn't feel quite as exciting as the 3 and the 2. So first run, right? So jury's still out, but we're gonna test it. We'll keep figuring it out, probably do some side by side, do a comparison this week of the 3 versus the 4 from the specs, and yeah, go from there.
It's Wednesday, it's lunchtime. We're gonna get our run in. I did only about 2.5 miles this morning, just before I took my son to school. Slept in a little bit. I've been struggling with sleep as of late. I'm just feeling a lot of fatigue. And that's even with the deload week last week. So we'll see what's going on. Could just be some mental health stuff, not to diminish that, but that's what it is sometimes with me. So anyway, I'm going to get some caffeine in, some liquid carbs, and we're going to get moving. Just 6 miles easy, maybe 7 if I'm feeling good. And we're just going to do it on the treadmill because my wife just went to pick up my kids from school. And so I've got the little one napping right now. So all in all, though, physically, I actually feel great. The deload week was actually, I feel like, a big deal because my hip had been flaring up kind of on and off for the last, honestly, a couple months, even before I took my break and then post 5K time trial. So, but it feels good now, no pain, no nothing. And I really wasn't in pain. It was just a little bit of tightness, a little bit of stiffness. And so it's feeling good now. So gonna get the miles in. We're gonna probably shoot for 60 to 65 miles this week. Should be a big one. And you know, after this, 3 more weeks, then we're back to 5K training. I'm starting to think about what I want to do from a race perspective because the only race I have on the calendar right now is the Dusk to Dawn race. It's the ultra relay through the night that I did last year. It's really not a race for me. That's more of like a fun experience with friends. And so, you know, if I did a 12-week 5K block after I finish this out, we'll get to like mid-May and then 12 weeks and we're, you know, all of a sudden June, July, August, we're all the way in August, right? And that's just for our 5K goal. Now, I do hope and expect that the 10K will fall very soon after the 5K almost. But, you know, we'll kind of have to see. So I'm thinking potentially of signing up for a half marathon in October. There's the Jordan River half that I ran a couple of years ago. It would be fun to go out and PR that course. And then who knows, maybe a marathon in December. I'm looking at potentially CIM. So we've got a couple of different options. I do want to race a longer event at some point this year. So half marathon or marathon sounds pretty good. And yeah, we'll just go from there. So let's see how it goes.
All right, we are 18 reps in. For the final 2, I'm gonna break it up into 200s and try and hit more 5K paces. We got 3 more weeks before we start 5K training, so we're just gonna introduce like micro dose, some slightly faster speeds in preparation for that training block, but nothing that's gonna wreck us, so plenty of rest in between, but trying to hit that turnover. All right, it's pretty windy. So half my reps I was running into the wind, half of them I was running with the wind at my back. And then these shoes are weird. Not necessarily good weird, not necessarily bad weird. So I've never felt so slow, yet run so fast. Like, the shoe is so bulky. It's bouncy. It's actually very stable, surprisingly. Not to the point where like overpronators, like legitimate stability need users need it. So not to the point where, you know, those with legitimate stability needs could use it probably. But it is way more comfortable than I thought and way more stable than I thought. The shoe just, you know, it looks unstable because it looks like it doesn't have, or it looks like it has almost like a negative drop, almost like it's a spike where you're on your toes. But actually with the way it's all set up, like you do stand flat. And it reminds me actually of both the Glycerin Max and the Hoka Skyward X in a lot of ways, but it's much faster than those. So do what you will with that information. Rule breakers, you know?
All right, it's like 6:30, obviously running late, but I don't have a call today or a meeting for work until about 9:30. So what I'm thinking is on Fridays, I normally do a easy run and bench session. I think I'll just do a quick bench session right now, take my son to school, get back and do a run now, and then work through lunch and just kind of get it all done early today. And then, because I'm in meetings from basically 9 till I think like 3. So, yeah, my schedule's all out of whack. I don't know why. This week has just been a struggle. It's been a struggle now, actually, probably for a couple of weeks, but for the most part, the body's feeling good. So we're gonna keep putting in miles. All right, it is Saturday morning, and I feel like I'm a little bit out of whack, but I want to run about 12 and a half miles this morning and get in like probably just do it easy, so like just under 2 hours or so. My wife has a local 5K that she's doing, and she has to be there at 6:45. It's currently like 5:30. So I'm just going to run on the treadmill so that she can leave, and if the kids wake up, I can run inside. What this means is I may actually have to do this run in 2 parts today. It just depends on if they wake up while I'm on the treadmill, so I'm hoping they don't. I'm hoping they keep sleeping. And then what we're going to try and do, just again, depends on when kids wake up, we're going to try and go meet my wife at the finish line. So she's running it with a friend. Should have a good time. It's at like this local tulip festival, which is pretty cool. So yeah, so that's kind of the plan. So nothing exciting today, just easy run on the treadmill. I want to get to about 60 miles this week, so I think that'll put me in a really good spot. And then in 3 more weeks, we're back to 5K training. So there we go.
So not gonna lie, I feel super clunky, but it is what it is. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna get it done. Made it 7 miles. My daughter's awake, so gotta get her up. I'll finish the other 6.5 later. All right, I'm back in the garage for part 2 of my long run. Had to get the kids up. We went, watched my wife finish her 5K, went and got some donuts with the family, and then we're back at it. So 5 more miles, 5.5 more miles. And I've got to finish this in about 50 minutes because my wife actually has to run some errands too around noon. So busy day today. Woke up at 4:30 and still couldn't fit it in. So let's get it done. All right, there it is. Probably what, 10 hours and 20 minutes, something like that. And just over 60 miles. So overall good week. Had to split today into 2 parts. We'll get the review of the Infinite Elite shoes probably filmed this next week. So overall, pretty impressed by the shoe. It's pretty bouncy. So Triumph like 2021 fans, gonna like this one. But that's all I got. Pretty tired. Gonna go relax and rinse off.